I've worked for another part of the U.S. government. I served in the United States Marine Corps as an infantry officer. And I tend to look at USAID's role in terms of national security as well. And so right now, we're pulling out of the strategic South Pacific Islands where USAID is the only game in town to prevent Chinese dominance. So if people really cared about making America strong and making America secure, why in the hell would they be ending USAID? And I think it's very, very symbolic that Elon Musk and his children's crusade are turning this space over to the Department of Homeland Security. Why? Because in stripping USAID people off of the front lines around the world where they're battling threats to our security, sure as hell the Department of Homeland Security is going to have more business right here in the United States of America. So listen, one last request. This is all up to the United States Congress. The United States Congress has got to do its constitutional duty. Call your senator. Call your representative. Don't give up the fight. USAID is one of the best strategic ideas America ever had. Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much. And now we're going to introduce Susan Likely, the former counselor at USAID, the senior foreign service officer.
It's hard to follow our former administrator and our former deputy administrator, but I want to say to all of you, we see you. Thank you. Everybody who is here, we see you around the world and what you are doing. Listen to this. This is not just a pass in the night. This is more than 6 decades of your work that has mattered, that has made a difference. You have not only saved lives from the Green Revolution to the discovery of ORT, oral rehydration therapy. You have done big things. And I know you will continue to do big things because that's what America is about. We are about saving lives. We are about protecting America, our national interests. That is why President Kennedy created USAID, the Peace Corps, and so many institutions that we know and we love. And we are going to keep fighting for USAID. This is not done. And to our colleagues overseas, around the embassies in the world, our partners, all of our partners who are suffering so much, our local partners who have placed so much confidence in the United States of America, we are here. We are not backing down. We are too strong. We are here for you. We are going to keep fighting. So please, this community that has been built and that will continue long after they take this building back, because guess what? Buildings don't matter. We don't care about real estate, do we? No, we're not in the business of real estate. We're in the business of saving lives and our national interests. So hide this building. We're staying together because we are all about development. And there are the 3 Ds: development, diplomacy, and defense. And guess what? We're not giving up, and none of you clearly are giving up. We got to keep strong, keep fighting, and I will pass the mic back. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Susan. And now I'm going to introduce Chris, also a former counselor at USAID.
Thank you. We are USAID, and we are proud. We are USAID. We are proud. We are USAID. We are proud. We are USAID. We are proud. But this is about more than USAID. This is about our democracy. This is about the world's richest man eroding our institutions and bringing dishonor to our country. This is about our values, which are being denigrated. This is about 94% of assistance programs being turned off. This is about humanitarian assistance that got a waiver that is now being turned off. This is about people dying. What a legacy. Which is the criminal organization here? This is about our institutions. Where are you, Congress? Speak up. Do your job. This is about American leadership. It's about our place in the world. It's about supporting democracies, not canceling the programs that hold out light for those under oppression. It's about building a better world. As Susan said, USAID is not this building. USAID are the values we all have. Values that unite us. Values based on human dignity. Yes! No one can take that from you.
No one.
No one.
No one.
So we are USAID and we are proud.
Thanks so much, Chris. Next up, we're going to invite Johnny Walsh, a former senior leader here at USAID and my former boss in the Middle East Bureau.
Thank you, Dan. I feel like such an imperfect vessel for this. I'm nowhere near as illustrious as the people you just heard from. But I've also just watched my friends, my colleagues, all of these heroes, these patriotic, creative, strategic American heroes walk out of the building carrying their boxes in images that I hope will last for generations. And we all have to do something, right? I got into this business because I was raised Catholic and taught to be a good Christian and to live by actual words that Jesus said. And it's only human that that means a different thing to all of us. But if there's one matter of policy that I think Jesus could not have been more clear on, it's only one thing. It's help the poor. Help the poor. This behind us, this is the main way our society, our government helps the poor all over the world. And those principles have abandoned us today at the highest levels of leadership. But there is so much belief in what this stood for. I'll just share that the first time I encountered USAID, long before I came to work here, I was serving in Iraq for others, and I encountered these USAID officers in the furthest, most dangerous parts of the country, as far out as any soldier or intelligence officer. And they didn't have a gun, but by their ingenuity, by their local contacts, and a USAID officer's natural instinct for how to make a few dollars go a very long way, they were turning the entire Sunni insurgency to our side. They were saving lives every day, American and Iraqi. And that's so representative of what's best about this building. I was lucky enough to get to go to work for USAID when Samantha Power was the administrator here. I got to work with the democracy team that was advancing our democratic values all over the world. It's been so hideously maligned, but this is the place, this is the organization that has stood up for people fighting for freedom, for free speech, for human decency, for civil society. And then I got to work on the Middle East, in the Middle East office, just until recently. And I was thinking, as the Syrian revolution happened, when that war started, before the untold suffering happened there, it was so easy for people to make the argument that it doesn't matter, like it's far away, it doesn't affect our core interests. And then that war gave rise to the most dangerous terrorist group in history and to the refugee crisis that upended Europe. USAID has been there to help, has stuck with Syria all that time. There's a moment of such huge opportunity to save lives and help American interests at the same time. And I don't sense that in the decisions that have happened to shut down USAID, that kind of consideration has remotely entered into the calculus of the people who made this choice. And so it can be such a dark moment, and none of us wants to give in to that. Nope. And I can hear it in everyone who came out here, in every car horn that honks in support, in the cheers for every hero who walks out of the building right now. I think it's the PLR Bureau at this moment. And if there's a thing I take heart from, it's that every one of these people walking out, they are as patriotic and moral and creative and strategic as they were 3 months ago. And they are going to go on to long futures. This was just the beginning of a very difficult period where what started as an attack on USAID has become an attack on the whole federal service. Let's keep going. We are all going to fight. And thank you so much for coming out for these thoroughly decent people. Let's keep this momentum going for as long as we possibly can, because there's real energy here. Thank you so much for coming, and God bless USAID.
Thanks so much, Johnny. Now we've heard a lot from USAID leaders. We're going to hear now from Dave Cann of the American Federation of Government Employees, the national, not the local. That's my union, and he's going to talk about how this goes beyond just USAID.
Dear brothers and sisters from USA, I am here with AFGE representing 800,000 federal employees, including USA. And you are not alone. You are not alone. This is an awful moment. And I want to be here with you to talk about it briefly in regards to the past, the present, and the future. For over 90 years, your union has been fighting to protect and strengthen federal employees. There have been dozens of attacks on federal workers and their rights on the job. The last Trump administration saw attacks on your local and your union, and you came out stronger than before. Right now, there is an attack on federal employees, including USAID. This is an attack on Americans who serve Americans, and in your case, serve Americans through serving the most vulnerable people in the world. It is disgusting, it is cowardly, it is based on ignorance, and it will not stand. That's right. 800,000 federal employees, including USAID workers, are fighting this in the courts, and we're winning. Last night, the court said that the termination of probationary employees across the federal government was impermissible. That's your union, that's your power. We've had temporary restraining orders that have lasted, we've had temporary restraining orders that haven't. We're not going to win every battle. And today is proof that we're not going to win every step of the game. But this fight goes 90 years into the past and it goes into the future. The work you do is work that comes from your caring and your compassion and your love for other people. As one of the previous speakers said, that's not going anywhere. That's real estate that won't move. And the mission that needs to be achieved that you've done will not move. We will continue to fight in the courts. We will continue to fight in the streets. 800,000 federal employees, including USAID, will continue fighting forward. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Dave, and thanks to AFG for looking out for us. We appreciate it, and us looking out together. We've heard from a number of senior leaders. We're now going to hear from, not a senior leader, a dear friend of mine, Miley, who was terminated as one of the contractors at USAID. It takes a lot of courage to get up here after that lineup that we've had, after a lot of experienced speakers. But she said to me this morning that she's feeling motivated to do something and to do this. So please give a round of applause for Miley.
Thank you. I wrote some thoughts down last night to process the events of today, and frankly, the events of every day since the day I was furloughed 32 days ago, with no actual goal of speaking today. This crowd, this energy, this movement has encouraged me to do so today. Although, like Dan mentioned, it is hard to follow the speakers before me, I'd like to share with you what I wrote. I stared at this blank page for a long time, just as we stare at this blank keystone above the USAID entrance today, wondering what I could possibly say to meet the moment. While I may be upset about the loss of my job and those of my colleagues, enraged over the complete disregard of a key part of the national security equation, and sickened by the waste of humanitarian assistance, this represents something so much bigger than that. USAID is the first domino to fall in an active effort to circumvent constitutional processes. As an American who is proud of the land that raised me, I can understand holding out hope that checks and balances will suddenly reappear. I can understand being optimistic in hopes that the America we all once knew will appear again. I can understand wanting to believe that those in power in our government are not this malicious. But what do I say? What can I say that will affect the narrative and effectively communicate these points to those who just don't see it? Again, I return to this blank page. After all, I'm a nobody. Who's going to listen to me? I am one low-level contractor who lost her job after a very brief career at USAID compared to a lot of those standing around me today. But all groups who are somebodies started as nobodies. All movements started somewhere. Every resistance had an origin point. For the people, by the people. We are the people. We are the ones that need to stand up against these unconstitutional acts. I urge us to look past the cloaks of government efficiency and taxpayers' interests and consider what is really being done here. Think about what you want for this nation and the ideals upon which it was founded. For a little pop culture reference, to quote Jane Fonda's recent acceptance speech, we are living in the documentary. Can we meet the moment? Thank you all so much for being here today.
That was really great, Miley. Very moving to meet you. Miley's been my colleague for her entire time at AID, and it's pretty cool to see her up here too. Now it's my turn. I'll be the last speaker of today. And before I start, I think I'll lose in the flow. A lot of federal workers are showing up at the Senate. Fired federal workers, terminated federal workers. Tuesday is going to be a big day for that. So any of you who have been terminated or know those who have, please encourage folks to show up for that action on Tuesday. So I've said to myself on Monday, I'm feeling energized by this, not depressed yet. But I never imagined in 5 days later I'd be standing up here like this. And I've been asking myself all day, how did I come to be in this position? It's not a comfortable, natural position for a civil servant. We're used to working right up there. We're used to working at our desks. We're used to being behind the scenes, and that's been my career most of my time. I started out as a child growing up in a very small town in rural Ohio, 900 people, Grand Rapids, Ohio. And I was as sort of white bread upbringing as you can imagine, right? I was literally an altar boy, literally a Boy Scout, okay? And as Johnny mentioned, what did I learn in church? I learned that Jesus puts the poorest first, the poorest and most vulnerable first. What did I learn in the Boy Scouts? I learned the value of service, and I learned the importance of going out past the horizon of comfort in order to do that service. What did I learn in grade school in Grand Rapids Elementary School? I learned to pledge allegiance to the Republic, and I learned about the founding principles of this country and the checks and balances that uphold our entire system of government. And so here, fast forward 20 years, I show up at USAID. How perfect for a rule follower like me. Lots and lots of rules. You got to have a security clearance. Every dollar we're tracking. Every record has to be carefully attended to. But I also get to travel the world. I get to help people when I travel the world, and I get to do that on behalf of the people that I grew up with back in rural Ohio. Okay, and throughout my thank you, and throughout my 10 years as a civil servant here, I know that those folks have been proud of me, and they've been proud of me because they know that I'm doing their work, right?
We're proud of you.
Thank you, and they know that I'm doing their work, and they know that, and I'm able to articulate the value of USAID's work, right? And I've been able to articulate that value not just back home, but also here in Washington, because that's a lot of what we do. To Republican and Democratic administrations, in the first Trump administration, had a very successful period in my career working with the administration to make sure that we carved our work and our message to reflect their needs. We expected more of that this time. That's not what we got. on Capitol Hill with Republicans and Democrats alike, making absolutely sure every minute of every day that our work reflects the democratic will of the American people, and if it doesn't, changing course very quickly. That has been the primary way that I see my role here. Okay, that all went away. $40 billion, or nearly $40 billion, went away over the course of the last couple of weeks. Right, this is work, as you all know intimately and have heard from other speakers. This is life-saving work. It's all life-saving if you look at the horizon long enough. Right, the democratic stabilization work, the work to build resilience. It's all life-saving, and it's all pretty much all gone. And so, I'm reflecting now and saying, what can I do? I learned those lessons there. I came here. I applied those lessons. And one of the things, the very first thing I did is I swore an oath to the Constitution. Okay? And that oath, it talks about defending against enemies, both domestic and foreign. And now my computer's been turned off. My office has been closed. And I'm thinking to myself, what elements of my mission here can I still uphold? Okay, love to be getting back to work, and much kudos to those folks in our humanitarians who are still working, those few. But the one part of that mission that I can still uphold is that defense of the Constitution, and that's really what I feel